In order for you to maintain a high vibration in life, you must become high vibrational. Welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance. And yes, that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. With that being said, because there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates as well as leave the rest. So if it doesn't apply, let it fly. But most importantly, grab your pen and your paper and be prepared to take notes. In this video, we're going to discuss some recommendations, some reminders, some disclaimers, and certain things to be aware of as you choose to raise your vibration. Starting off with the disclaimers, starting off with the reminders. In order for you to be a high vibrational being, you must become high vibrational, meaning you have to choose high frequency. You have to surround yourself with things that you consider to be abundant. You have to know what high frequency looks like to you. So the second thing you have to be aware of is knowing what is for you and what's not. Just because certain things are not for you doesn't necessarily mean that it's better or less than. But if you want to maintain a certain frequency, if you want to consider something to be high, you have to be mindful and know when you're welcome, when certain things are for you and when they're not. If you're somebody who struggles with alignment, you have to take the time to figure out who you are. And that's going to be the third thing. Until you know who you are, until you know what it is that you want, until you become intentional and specific, you're constantly going to feel confused. You're constantly going to feel insecure sometimes. You're constantly going to doubt yourself. You're constantly not going to be confident. You have to be 100% sure. You cannot pick and choose when you want to believe something. You can't pick and choose when you want to be confident when it comes to being high vibrational or abundant. There is no limitations. So the fourth thing that you have to be mindful is that everyone may not be high vibrational. Everyone may not want abundance. Everyone may not want the same things as you. And that is okay. You're going to have some people that you're going to be compatible with in life. And there are going to be some people that you're not. Just like the energy that I post on this account, just about the messages that we talk about here. Everyone's not compatible with it. This doesn't mean that people who are not compatible with my message or with what you want to do in life are bad people. They may not be for you. Now, of course, what makes somebody bad when it comes to like universal laws in society and just in general? Anybody who hurts and harms you intentionally, maliciously, and out of spite. So if you have insecurities, you have doubts, and you have fears, but you want to work on those things, I have no problem being patient. I have no problem sympathizing you. But if you have insecurities, fears, and envy, and you choose to be willfully ignorant, you choose to hurt and harm people, you choose to sabotage people, that's where I draw the line and I don't condone it. So now, when it comes to being high vibrational, you need to understand what it is that you want. You need to know what type of person you want to be. You need to know what type of people you want around. You need to know what you want to engage with. If you don't know what you're supposed to be focusing on in life, if you don't know what your purpose is, if you don't have a passion, if you don't have a reason, if you don't figure out what it is that you want, if you don't have boundaries, you're not going to be able to be influenced and surround yourself with people who are high vibrational, because when people are secure in themselves, when people are confident, and this is what I mean by high vibration, when people are at peace with themselves, they're not surrounding themselves with people who don't want peace. It's not fair to them and it's not fair to you. So if you know you have flaws, you know you have things you need to work on, instead of being envious of people or instead of trying to force yourself in certain people's life, work on yourself and figure out who you are. So I'm challenging you. That's your homework assignment in the comment section on your piece of paper that you're taking notes, is to spend time with yourself and establish certain things that you want to experience in life, what you like about yourself, and what it is that you want to do in the future moving forward. And on the same sheet of paper, I want you to figure out the things that you don't like about yourself, the things that you don't want to experience. And anytime you encounter those things, you separate yourself, you remove yourself, or you remind yourself. Until you are very intentional about what you want to do in life, you're constantly going to be influenced by certain people, places, and things, and not everyone may have your best interest. The second thing you need to be aware of, or the second, recommendation now, because that's what we're on, is knowing that once somebody doesn't want to be compatible with you, you don't have to go back and forth with them. Once you realize there's a disconnect with people, you don't have to go back and forth with them. So you have to realize that when building community, when building relationships, when surrounding yourself with high vibrational people, you have to be patient. You have to be patient when building connections with people if you want them to last and if you want them to be on the same frequency. Because sometimes when people are unaware of themselves, they jump into situations, they jump into relationships subconsciously, and they don't know any better because that's all they've been taught and programmed and been exposed to. And it's not until they get in encounters with people where they have difficulties or there's times where they feel uncomfortable, and that's when people have conflict, you guys, I don't know why I keep burping. That's when people start to have conflict with people, or they start to realize they were raised differently, or they start to realize we're not compatible. Just because you aren't raised the same as certain people, just because you're not compatible with people, doesn't mean that you can't learn from other people or that you can't learn to accept people for who they are. But if you're not willing to be patient, if you're not willing to realize everyone doesn't think like you, if you're not willing to see where your differences are and work together, it's going to be problems. It's going to be tension. It's going to be confusion. And it's like when you're high vibrational, you know what you want. Because you've done the work, you worked on yourself, and you only project what it is that you want to receive. The third or fourth thing, I lost count when it comes to the recommendations of keeping your vibration high, is surrounding yourself with people who have the same energy. When you know who you are, people will know who they are. The only people who have a problem with you being on a certain frequency or displaying the things that you display or being yourself are the people who are not for you. Like I said, if somebody wants to get to know you, they'll learn, they'll be patient, they'll listen to understand. If not, you don't have to go back and forth with people. You don't have to explain things to people who are meant to get it. You don't have to convince people what you want to believe in. You're going to do whatever makes sense to you, just like I'm going to do whatever makes sense to me. It's not for everybody. The more people could realize that everything and everybody is not for them and they focus on the people that are for them, the more you could be high vibrational, because it's like you can't be responsible for everybody in the world. So it's just like you can't worry about what everybody in the world is doing. You have to worry about what you're doing and then decide where you want to go and where you're welcome. And the more you focus on yourself, the more you know how to control your energy. When you can control your energy, you know when someone's trying to manipulate you. You know when someone's trying to gaslight you. You know when someone's trying to take advantage of you. If you don't know who you are, it's easy for people to come in your life to hurt you and sabotage you and betray you and just do things that you considered low vibrational. So it's just like, as you're raising your frequency, as you're figuring out who you are, you have to be okay with yourself. Like, you have to be vulnerable. On this account, people think it's oversharing. People think it's a weakness. It's not. Anybody who confuses vulnerability with a weakness is not somebody who is empathetic and sympathetic. Is everyone empathetic, sympathetic? No. But if you choose to be here, that's the vibes. That's the type of time that we're on. In order for you to have a high vibration, in order for you to maintain your vibration, you have to be intentional, because it's a choice. Like, being positive is a choice, just like being negative is a choice. Now, a lot of people have been conditioned to think negativity is the only way, but there are good people in this world who exist. There are loving people in this world that exist. There are people who are going to support you and want to appreciate you and who want to be there for you, who are not going to sabotage you, who are not going to betray you, who are not going to backstab you. You're not going to be able to experience those people if you're constantly surrounded by people who don't know who they are, who are not intentional about what they say, they're not intentional about what they do, and they're not mindful. If you want people to care about you, you have to care about yourself. So it's really important that when you decide to raise your vibration, you're okay with outgrowing certain people. And that's the fourth or fifth thing. You have to be okay with change in order for you to raise your frequency and your vibration, because every time you learn something, you're going to unlearn something. Every single day, if you're learning and growing, you're evolving in life. The more you learn, the more you grow, the more you evolve, the more you're going to be exposed to certain things that you weren't exposed to. Remember, there's only limitations if you put blockages, if you believe there are limitations. When it comes to abundance over here, there's no limitation. There's no limitation when it comes to positivity. There's no limitation when it comes to love. It's a choice. Now, if you choose not to love, if you choose not to do the work, you choose not to be vulnerable, you choose not to figure out what you like and what you don't like, you don't choose to cut off certain people, places, and things, that's on you. But you don't have to limit yourself just because everybody else around you is limited. Like, you can't be afraid to believe in the things that you believe in when you choose to be high vibrational. You can't worry about how people are going to perceive you when you want to be positive and everybody else is negative. That's like if you want to be a multimillionaire or you want to get yourself out of poverty. when it comes to certain things that you're healing from, and everybody else is used to that. You can't be afraid to walk on faith or to walk on what it is that you believe in. You can't be afraid to go down that path because everybody else around you thinks a certain type of way or has a certain mindset. When you are raising your vibration, when you're high vibrational, you operate with a sense of knowing, you operate with a sense of faith, you operate with a sense of love. So in order for you to maintain your frequency, you have to choose it. And this is something that you have to practice. You have to realize if you didn't grow up and you weren't taught and shown how to love, how to heal yourself, how to be confident, it's unfamiliar. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be hard. It is unfamiliar. It may be uncommon, but people like myself exist. It's possible. It's possible. If it was so impossible, there wouldn't be people in this world that you see that are genuinely happy. And everyone's not faking it until you make it. There are people who are really happy with their self, not because they have millions of trillions of dollars, not because they have a lot of friends, not because they have a lot of family, but because they know who they are. They love themselves. When you learn how to love yourself and whatever that looks like to you, because all I'm here to do is give you guys the information that resonates with you. You're going to take it and apply it by being an example. You're going to live your best life. You're going to continue to be in a high vibration, and you'll know when things are not high vibrational to you. So for example, there are certain things that I consider to be high vibrational. There's certain things I consider to be low vibrational. Anything that's low vibrational, anything, like I said, that gets me out my character, anything that goes against on what I believe in, I don't need to respond. I don't need to engage. I don't need to go back and forth. And that's the same thing with you, but you have to be willing to practice it. If you guys are not watching these videos and you're not taking what resonates, it's pointless. And I say that all the time. So it's like when you get pen and paper, when people come in your life and you feel triggered or you feel inspired or you feel intimidated by them, learn from them and vice versa. I learn from any and everybody. I learn from any and everybody the same way people can learn from you too. It's all about what resonates. Now, if it doesn't resonate, if it doesn't apply, you don't have to agree, and that's okay. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to look at life differently because all of us have our own life. All of us have our own paths. But it's like when you do agree, take what resonates, leave the rest. But in order for you to raise your vibration, you have to be serious. You do have to take it seriously. Like there's a time and a place where you take life seriously. There's a time and a place where you go to school. There's a time and a place when you go to work. There's a time and a place for you to party and have fun. I'm not saying that every day should be serious, but when it comes to yourself, when it comes to your life, when it comes to what it is that you want, you do have to make time. And it's the same time, energy, and effort you take when you watch on YouTube. When you watch other YouTube videos, rather, they're entertaining, they're reality, they're educational, they're motivational. You take the time. So why not take the time, energy, and effort? Like over here, I don't make excuses. Over here, we don't complain about the things that we want. If we want to be a high vibration, we want to surround ourselves with high vibrational people. That's what we're willing to do. We're willing to sit with ourselves. It's only uncomfortable because you're refusing to do it. Or like I said, you don't know how. But once you say you don't know how and you choose to watch the videos, you're learning how. You can't ask for a sign and say, God this, God that. And then when you get the sign, you want to ignore it because you're worried about how the person looks or who's saying it. It doesn't matter. If you know something is true to you and you know somebody's telling you something that could better you, take it. Now, of course, question people, challenge people. That's why I always tell you guys to ask me questions, challenge people. So therefore people can, back with what they're saying. But it's like if somebody's trying to teach you something or if somebody wants you to know something with like myself or just in general, when they're high vibrational, they're not going to have a problem taking the time to be patient with you. If people can't be patient with you, you don't need to be with them. Because it's pointless. If you don't agree with something, like when people watch stuff, I know everyone doesn't agree like this, but it's like when people watch stuff and they know it has nothing to do with them, why take your time and your energy to engage? Because now you're focusing on things that, like I said, are not high vibrational, that are not for you. So I challenge you all to just figure out who you are this weekend or today. Let me know in the comment section in this video or the next video, and just, if you want to be high vibrational, you have to be intentional. You just need to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and you have to be okay with cutting off certain things that no longer resonate with you. The only people, like I said, who have a problem with you doing high vibrational things or being on a certain frequency are people who are just not compatible with you. And once you realize somebody's not compatible with you, what more could you do? So I'm going to end off the video with that. Thank you guys for watching the video all the way to the end. Thank you guys for liking and commenting and engaging. I love all of you. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of you, excuse me. I don't know why I couldn't say that. Thank you guys for liking the video. Thank you for commenting down below and turning on your post notifications. Make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms. Once again, if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, follow me there, as well as TikTok and on Instagram. I will be going live answering you guys' questions, comments, concerns, as well as my website. If you want a more one-on-one session, head to my website at tyguidancesummer.com. And you guys, I just peeped that my lipstick was like smeared off. But anyways, that's not important. Just remember, if you want to be on a high vibration, you have to choose things that are high vibrational. Okay, until next time.